What's he drinking? He's drinking water. Him over there. He's drinking water. Would you believe it? It's never been seen before. Look, even Carol's taking photographs.
It's a Masonic one. If you don't want to own up to it, you can come and see me afterwards. A blue Masonic coupling. Anybody else one? Most likely to propose a toast for our president. Thank you, George.
Mr. President, fellow Rotarians, guests, it is my honour to say a few words about our President and propose a toast. But before I do that, is there anybody from Vision Express or an optician in the room? Because there's some good business for you up there for Norman.
Now the menu changed, so was this list.
Always got a good excuse. Brian Taps, who's sitting up there, he's got a name for me. Well, he's got several names for me. Most of them can't actually be mentioned, but one of them that can be mentioned is Lucky Larky. And I feel very, in Rotary terms, I do feel very lucky. I joined the Rotary Club in 2004, and then in 2005 I was lucky enough to be asked by John Fowler, bless him, to do a toast to the ladies for President's Night. So as a newbie I felt very privileged. 2008, we blame Mr. Gavani. He brought along two new members from the Barking Club, and I was asked, again, I was very lucky to be asked to be their sponsors for their induction day. And those two new members were, of course, Sylvia and Ray Needham. And I'd never met them before, but I introduced them as their sponsor. So don't blame me, blame Mr. Mark. And they were very personable people, and they soon integrated themselves very quickly into the club and threw themselves into the many activities and support that a club needs, a club like any club like ours needs. And I would just like to apologise if I'm referring to them as a couple rather than the president, because I always associate Ray and Sylvia together, because they're our only serving married couple in the club at the moment. And so I always think of them, Ray and Sylvia, or Sylvia and Ray, however I feel. And so please excuse me for the moment, but when I was senior vice president a few years ago, I asked Ray if he'd like to become JVP, and he said yes. And of course, during his to be senior vice president year, they had their annus horribilis, and so he had to step back. And fortunately, Jerry moved forward, and then eventually Ray finally became president this year. So actually, this speech should have been taking place last year as opposed to this year. But you made it, like all good.
Bad pennies.
Bad pennies. No, that wasn't the word I wanted. You know what they say about cream rising to the top? Well, the cream eventually rose to the top, and of course, Ray has been our president for this past year. What's he? He's not, because he still has a month to go, and if he's any money owing, get in quick. Anyway, let me read my writing, because... Oh yes, it is tradition for the actually incoming president to take this opportunity to tell a few choice stories about the president. But I feel that's not my job, because I am not the incoming president. So I'm sorry, Ray, I will not be able to tell them all those terrible stories that I found out about you this week. It is. Well, one thing I do know about Ray, if you've ever sat with him, he's got a wicked dry sense of humour. And I would say if we were going to crown anybody today, king of the wind-up merchants, he would probably get the crown. He can wind you up with a straight face, and so that's one of his many achievements this year.
I haven't got to pay the bar bill, have I?
Well, that should have been sent through the post. Anyway, I am going to conclude, because it's not this speech you want to hear. If you want to hear any speeches at all, of course. But in conclusion, I can say that Ray has had an excellent year. Leading by example, he's been inspiring, thoughtful, friendly. Somebody only spoke to me today at this very lunch. He said, Ray always comes up and says hello. He always comes up and says hello. Hope you're having a good time. And makes you feel very welcome. So that's another little thing on your CV, Ray, and that's very, very true. And of course, in all of that, he's ably supported by the power behind the throne. So I'm going to include you in that little bit, Sylvia, but for this last little bit, I'm not going to include you, because on behalf of the club, Ray, I'd like to thank you for all of your hard work. It has been an excellent year so far, and I hope it continues to be until you hand over. And I would ask you all, ladies and gentlemen, fellow Rotarians, to be upstanding for a toast. And the toast is to our President, Ray Needham. Right.
President Ray, follow that.
Thank you. Well, it's not an occasion for speeches, but I've got one or two things to say. Thank you, George, for those fine, kind words. A sombre note to start with.
We've lost 3 true, honest, good Rotarians in the last 12 months. Dick Wiley, Alan Thomas and John Fowler. And I hope, well, they're in my thoughts today, and I'm sure they're in some of yours. I'd like to thank Norman for arranging this occasion. It has been hard work, it's always hard work, and I do know what he had to go through, some of it, and it's a wonderful achievement, Norman. Yeah. Christine, the flower decorations are absolutely superb. Yes, thank you very, very much. Of course, I'm standing up here as president, but I couldn't possibly do half of what I've done without the committees that actually run the club and the committee chairman. And I'm glad to thank them all personally for the hard work, help, encouragement for the year that we've had. The entertainers were very good. I thought that magician, where is he? He's over sitting up there, was excellent, yeah. Marvellous. And you made us all laugh on this table. I could hear you going around to the various tables. Everybody was enthralled, I think is the word. Thank you very much indeed. A little bit of publicity. We've got the hog roast on the 1st of June at the Scout headquarters. And a final thanks to the staff of Orsett Hall. They've worked with us very, very well indeed. The fact there are 84 people here who told them what we wanted, and it came up very well, I thought. Some people had to be last, but unfortunately that was unfortunate. I'm sure it didn't detract from anything. So without further ado, I'd like to thank you all for coming and enjoy the rest of the day. Thank you, fellows.
Now, I'd like to invite someone, if we've got the microphone. I'll be Jerry Harrington, who will make the propose the partners and their guests.
Hello. Can you hear me? Yes. Thank you. Well, I arrived here today, and Jeff said to me, Jeff Ferguson said to me, "Did you get the email?" Which was an email saying I could do a speech. I said no. I rather suspect it may not have been sent. Were you having effects on the length of the speeches, Jeff? Who knows?
I didn't want you to worry about it.
Anyway, we got here, and it was a bit of a Morecambe and Wise scenario earlier on, with all the right notes, but not necessarily in the right order. So here we go. The guests and the partners. There's no distinguished guests in terms of Rotary area people today, but of course we have Inner Wheel, we have the President's wife, we have all sorts of people. We may have even more distinguished guests after next Thursday. We've got no less than 4 local council candidates within the room here and 5 within our club. So they may be distinguished if they're lucky next week, or they may be extinguished. Well done. No further comments on that. As usual, the Rotarians here are outnumbered by their partners and indeed their guests, and we're glad to see them all here today. That's members of Inner Wheel, the partners of the Rotarians. You make these functions what they are, really, and Norman, you've done a fantastic job getting 84 of us here today. Our guests include the magician, and also our entertainment, which we're halfway through, I suspect. So thank you once again for that. So if you could please, Rotarians, be upstanding and join me for a toast to...
It is my great pleasure today to respond on behalf of partners and guests. Service before self. Thursday morning, as I woke up, there was a tray left beside my bedside with a flask of coffee, croissants, and a note to say, Have your breakfast first, then open your new tablet.
He is a chemist.
I am off to play golf with. On it said, message from Brian Taps. Oh, I have found the penny from the sponsored walk. Can you please tell John and Jim that and underneath was Margaret Webb. Now Margaret Webb is doing the District 24 Innerville Facebook. Yes, folks, Innerville has now got Facebook. And I thought she was going to tell all the Rotarians that the National Innerville Project, the Wheels Project, and that is when Rotary started with 4 men bringing to the forefront the idea of fellowship, friendship, and service. And today, I wear my Paul Harris badge.
Oh dear.
Thank you, Norman. I didn't know you cared.
There you are, Dad.
I didn't do it deliberate. I was waiting for the flowers to be presented. But obviously, I thank the committee and everybody involved for helping me with a successful year. But I could not have done it without.
Oh dear.
Thank you, Norman. I didn't know you cared.
There you are, Dad.
I didn't do it deliberate. I was waiting for the flowers to be presented. But obviously, I thank the committee and everybody involved for helping me with a successful year. But I could not have done it.
If you'd like to put your hands together to Andrew on sax and Ryan on trumpet for their wonderful playing. I should plug a gig that Andrew is doing on the 14th of June, Saturday the 14th of June at St Luke's Church in Cranham. He's got his 17-piece big band there.